Hey, everybody. That's how the show begins.
What?
Hi.
Hi.
Did you just wake up?
I had no response for that. Yeah, I did. Because I fell asleep after that.
Welcome to Super Breakfast Friends Club, the only show on the internet where you can hear the two of us talk about this television show. It's the best show on the internet where you can hear that specific thing, in fact.
Mostly because it's the only one.
Ranked number one. On that
Number one on the niche interest board.
Hey, somebody's out there looking for it. They just don't know it
I don't
yet.
think that's true.
They'll know it when they find it. You know what I realized earlier?
What?
We stopped introducing ourselves.
I did notice that, like, after it happened, within the episode, I was like, huh, I don't think we did the name part, but I didn't say anything.
I don't think we've done it for like several episodes at this point.
Listen, it's been a wild month.
I'm Mike.
Been a wild couple of weeks.
It has.
And I'm wild and crazy.
Wild and crazy. Wild Nigel crazy.
You'll see me in the next Phoenix Wright game where I am a defendant.
This show didn't really have an opening theme exactly, but let's play whatever I'm cobbling together for it.
All these people want to know, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
And one of these people could find her. Jason Morgan. Jay Bach. Lisa Mullet. Today's episode, The Taking of the Shrew. And this man is special agent in charge of training new recruits, Wrigley! Oh!
There were some words. There were some words and some singing. Or the part where it says...
Carmen's gang is bankrolled by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and viewers like you.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised that PBS owned up to that.
What if this is just an expose on PBS?
The secret crime ring they've been funding with all their Sesame Street money.
It was Elmo himself that stole the Mona Lisa.
Oh my, I would love it if Carmen's gang was made up of other PBS characters. We got DW out here stealing the stealing the Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower! That's really easy to spirit away.
I'm pretty sure that they steal the Eiffel Tower in something. One of the games or something.
Alright. That's ambitious.
It is. She helicopters it away. I'm sure I've seen that.
That's some super villainy.
Yeah, she's a supervillain. She's a
Alright.
she's a sticky-fingered filcher. What was the lyrics? I can't remember.
She's a sticky-fingered filcher from Berlin down to Belize.
Something like that.
I'm gonna be honest with you about the existence of Carmen Sandiego since I was a wee lad. I had no idea she was a thief.
No?
I just thought she was a well-traveled woman.
I didn't see a lot of Carmen Sandiego as a kid. I know I saw some of the 1996 animated series because when I was looking through some of the stuff here, that was the thing that was the most familiar to me. I know I watched a bunch of that show, but somehow I went years without realizing that she was the villain.
Right!
And I guess like the recent Netflix series, she's not the villain. I watched the first season of that. It's very good.
I think I watched like one episode when I got stuck babysitting one day, and maybe that's what painted my vision of her. But also I just I never knew. I was just trying to find her, you know? I didn't know why, but I was really excited to do it.
Yeah. I remember when and I think I sent this to you at the time. It was like probably a decade ago. But when I first noticed that you could search specifically for people on Google Maps, the first and only thing I ever did with it was type in Carmen Sandiego, and I got 0 results.
Where is she?
What? Even Google doesn't know.
She's good. She's crafty.
Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego is a 1985 Apple II computer game by Broderbund.
All right.
Broderbund, known for Carmen Sandiego, first of all, but also Prince of Persia, Lode Runner, Myst, Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing.
Oh yeah, our old friend Mavis Beacon.
Kid Pics, Zoom Beanies, and the Living Books series. Which I didn't realize that Broderbund were behind all of that stuff. That's a lot of stuff.
Neither did I. I guess I just thought the Myst trilogy kind of came to us from the void.
I'm not sure if they did the whole Myst trilogy. They might have just done the first one, because that was the only one that was in the list I found. But it may have just been an incomplete list. So the original version of the game was distributed with the 1985 edition of the World Almanac and Book of Facts.
Whoa!
Yeah. There was an enhanced version released in 1989 without the almanac, but that feels...
How's it enhanced?
Well, the
They've
games...
taken away half the knowledge.
I guess the knowledge is in the game instead. I don't know.
How are we going to raise a generation of brainuloids if we take away the almanac?
Mel,
Uh-huh.
the game came out in 1985. We clearly did not raise a generation of branuloids. I'm sorry to be the one to bear this bad news.
Is that because you were born shortly thereafter?
Yeah, I was born too late to... If only they'd released Carmen Sandiego 5 years later when I was... I didn't have a computer 5 years after that. I didn't get a computer till I was like 12. What was that? I can't math.
That's why I love being born on a nice round number. I don't have to think too hard about how old I was.
The game was created by Dane Bigham, and it wasn't initially going to be an educational game. He just wanted to make a game.
If it wasn't going to be educational, were you just hunting a woman?
Yeah, I guess. Well, it wasn't going to be a woman originally.
So,
basically, the impetus for the game was that he had been playing text adventure games. You know, of the kind where you have to type in commands.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Get Ye Flask.
Yeah, Get Ye Flask style adventure games. And he had noticed that players often struggled entering commands because you need to know the exact correct synonym to use.
I hate text adventure games. They're so confusing. There's too many words to use.
That's right, yeah. And all possibilities are open, and you have to figure out the specific one that works. So he wanted to make a graphical adventure with menu-based commands, so you always knew which commands were available to you because they were there in the menu.
Because they were told to you, and you didn't just have to pull them from your butt.
Yeah. He based the idea for the game... He based the idea for the game's story on the childhood game of cops and robbers. So you're the cop and you gotta catch the robbers.
What if I want to be the robbers?
Well,
What
you
if I got stuck being the robber because I have older brothers and I never got to choose anything?
the robbers are the better ones to be, though.
I'm not saying they're not.
You don't want to be a cop.
Nah.
I don't want to be a cop.
You better turn in your badge then.
Broderbund's co-founder, Gary Carlston, suggested a focus on geography, and he bundled it with the almanac so that players could use the almanac to look up answers to things. Which is a pretty good idea.
Yeah. That's what learning is.
You're right! But the first draft of the game was called World Quest. And the villain was a man named Professor Esteban Devious.
I like him.
Yeah, but he didn't survive. He didn't make it.
Oh no! Carmen offed him. Just came in from the shadows.
Oh, they should make that the plot of a TV show or something. Really dig into the history of the series to the stuff from before the game even came out.
What if it was like a Dread Pirate Roberts thing, and Carmen Sandiego was Professor Esteban Devious?
But we know she's not.
Do we?
Yes. I hope.
I don't.
I never finished the Netflix show. Because the Netflix show is largely about her backstory. So who knows? Maybe season 2.
Well, if it's about her backstory and she's not the villain yet, something's gonna go down.
Yeah, I guess so. But anyway, Carmen Sandiego herself was created as a side villain working for Professor Devious. But then at some point during development, I guess they really zeroed in on her being the more interesting character. And she became the main focus.
I guess I'll allow it.
Good. Then we can move forward.
I'm not ready to heal. I just said I'd allow it.
I know, but that's all we need for us to be able to continue. I was ready to stop recording.
It's not too late. You can hit that button at any time. We'll just forget this whole thing.
We won't do the Carmen Sandiego episode.
It cuts too deep.
So the show happened, huh?
Yeah. So when you were talking about, you were asking me which one we should do. And I was like, well, just pick the first one. Duh. That's what we always do. I didn't realize the first one was a game show.
I did.
I hadn't the foggiest.
But the game show, it's like so iconic. Because I know we've talked about this kind of stuff before because there's a Sims reality show. And I was kind of like...
Sorry, was I aware of this?
Yes, we talked about this.
My brain doesn't work so good these days.
It's like a reality game show. It basically, there are teams of Sims-based influencers, and they're given challenges to recreate within the Sims. Mm-hmm. And then they go away and do it, and then they get judged.
Okay.
And
that sounds boring.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know, do we count that, or do we just count, animated series and things with plots?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember where we landed on it, but I feel like we landed on kind of not being super interested in it.
I don't know. I might just watch that for fun. That sounds like some good trash TV.
Well, hey, maybe we'll look at it then, because it's the only Sims content that there is for us.
It's kind of difficult to make content for.
Yeah. Well, a while back there was a Sims movie in production, and when they announced it, I was like, "What is a Sims movie? How do you make a Sims movie?"
I don't know. It's different for every viewer.
The only thing I can think of is if it's a meta story about the Sims realizing they're Sims. That's the only story you can tell with the Sims that specifically Sims.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yes.
Otherwise, it's just could be anything else. You could just do The Sopranos in The Sims.
Just imagining that with clunky animations and that green diamond over their head.
The green diamond moves to whoever the POV character is for this moment. That's instead of over the shoulder shots, the diamond just moves to whoever's currently speaking.
It just sounds like a bad cutscene.
Oh yeah.
I would watch it. I want it now. Let's fund it.
Yeah, me too, actually. Well, I think I read earlier that there's a Tetris movie in production right now. What the hell's a Tetris movie?
What?
Oh, and I read something about there being a Just Dance movie as well that's set in a post-apocalypse where dancing is...
Oh my god, why?
I don't know, but I want it. Sounds so bad. Ever since we started this show, there used to be, whenever they announced some video game thing that sounded awful, I would just be like, ugh, why? I will never watch this. But now, every time they announce it, I'm torn between like, I want it to be good, but if it's bad, it'll be good content for the show.
See, I don't have that problem because I don't want to watch Chris Pratt Mario.
Well,
I don't.
Well, we're not doing our movie-based spin-off show yet. But hey, if we get enough patrons on our Patreon, maybe we'll make it happen, and then Mel will be forced to watch the Chris Pratt Mario movie.
If you want to hurt me, I will allow it for payment.
For money, yeah.
BDSM for pay.
This show first aired on September 30th, 1991 on PBS.
Wow.
The Public Broadcasting Service. Did you know that PBS is in Virginia?
Like its headquarters?
Yeah, in Arlington.
I don't think I knew that, no, because
No.
I was not a PBS kid.
I found out while I was researching this. I found out today.
So we can go there and storm in and demand to know where Carmen is.
Yeah, they must know. They're bankrolling her gang.
And while we're at it, where is Professor Devious?
Yeah, where's he been? What happened?
Maybe he's working at PBS.
Well, I think he's working at Broderbund. I don't think he made it to PBS.
But he did create Mist.
He did. He did. For anybody who doesn't know, PBS is a publicly funded non-profit organization known for educational programming. They do like I guess they do like those phone-in drives for people to pledge donation money or whatever. I kind of know about them, although we don't really have PBS here. I know about them from having seen, I think there's like a Friends episode about PBS where Joey's working on the phones, taking donations and stuff like that. So
They were a big deal once upon a time.
I've heard, and they are responsible for a hell of a lot of big-name educational shows as well.
Yeah.
For example, Sesame Street, that I think is the biggest name on this list.
It's the only one you need. Who doesn't love Sesame Street?
Yeah, I grew up on Sesame Street.
Me too.
But they also did Arthur. They did the Magic School Bus.
Oh, yeah.
They did Barney the Dinosaur. I didn't know that.
I was a big Barney kid.
I watched a lot of Barney, but never liked it that much, but I watched it.
That's even worse than liking it.
Well, it was too, what's the word, saccharine, I guess, for me, even as a kid. But there's something hypnotic about Barney. I kind of had the same relationship with Teletubbies as well. Which
I never got into Teletubbies. They creeped me out.
Well, we were both, I think, too old for Teletubbies, really.
Oh, for sure, for
By the
sure.
time
I'm
they
pretty
came
sure I was
along.
a preteen by the time they came along.
Yeah. Teletubbies also, by the way, although Teletubbies is a BBC thing, it originally aired in the US on PBS, so...
I bet they did.
Uh,
Little creeps.
PBS also made Clifford the Big Red Dog.
I did like Clifford.
They made the Mr. Rogers. I've never really seen Mr. Rogers.
Neither have I.
So I know about him. I know he's a big deal.
He was a cool dude.
And they made Reading Rainbow.
Oh, yeah.
I've never read any Rainbows, but I've heard a lot about them. Oh, no, wait. Reading Rainbow. I guess it's the rainbow that reads.
Mm-hmm.
My bad.
You're forgiven.
This show ran for 5 seasons and had 295
What
episodes.
in God's name?
Yeah.
What?
295 episodes
That's absurd.
in 5 seasons. Yeah.
How did they not run out of places in the world? There's like 5.
Well, they probably repeated some.
I guess we're going back to Texas, everybody.
It was filmed in Manhattan, and they would apparently film 3 to 4 episodes each day of filming.
That's madness.
I can't even, like, how do these hosts have the energy?
I
to
don't know
film
because there
4
were
episodes in
full-
one day.
full skits and everything.
Yeah, the band especially, I would imagine,
Oh
would
my
be
God.
exhausted by the end.
The rockapellas. I'm sure they can't sing anymore.
No, they're still going. I looked them up.
Well, good for them. Except for that one with the weird eyes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that guy. The show was created partially in response to a National Geographic survey indicating that 1 in 4 Americans could not locate the Pacific Ocean.
You know what? That's a noble goal. I like that. That's hilarious.
It's pretty bad.
It's very bad.
It's a pretty big ocean.
There's only a handful of them. You basically have a 50-50 chance.
The Pacific is my favorite ocean.
It's too far away. I don't have a close personal relationship with her.
Well, all the good stuff's in the Pacific. You got Japan, you got Hawaii, you got the Great Barrier Reef, New Zealand.
You've got all those kaiju.
That's true. That's true. Sonic the Hedgehog.
A kaiju Sonic?
I mean, is Sonic a kaiju? He's pretty big for a hedgehog.
No, he's not a kaiju.
He's a big hedgehog.
But he's not a building.
Well, no, but if he's like 10 times, if he's like 100 times the size of a regular hedgehog, doesn't that make him a kaiju?
To other hedgehog, maybe.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
can you imagine the game Rampage, but instead of Lizzie, it's Sonic the Hedgehog?
Well, a regular size.
No.
Still just like 3 feet tall.
Zipping around down there, eating people.
He could probably still cause some damage. I mean, he's like a wrecking ball, really.
More like a buzzsaw.
Yeah. This show won 7 Daytime Emmy Awards.
Good for them.
Yeah, and it won a 1992 Peabody Award. I'm not sure what that is, but that's cool.
But that's a funny name.
Yeah, Peabody. Pee all over his body.
Well, now you've ruined it.
No, sorry.
You've You've taken the imagination out of it and just made it a gross visual.
Well, I didn't want you thinking I was talking about garden peas.
Well, I was thinking about garden peas. I was thinking about a little pea boy.
Well, that's what I figured. I want to make sure that we were on the same page, and it was the worst one.
I wanted to force you on the same awful page as me.
I mean, I started out on the same page as you, and then I thought, this page isn't good enough. I'm going to ruin it.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about that kind of pea.
So we did a flip. Because I really was thinking of a garden pea at first, and I was like, that's not funny enough.
It's happened. We switched brains as we're talking.
Mid-sentence, we were just like, whoop, let's switch those around. There we go, that's better.
The old switcheroo.
This episode is called The Taking of the Shrew.
It sure is.
Now, I want to say right up front, I'm going to talk a lot about the show
The Shakespeare play.
and the Shakespeare play. They didn't mention Shakespeare at all in this.
No, they didn't.
Now that I think about it, why was it even called The Taking of the Shrew?
I guess because Mona Lisa was a whiny bitch the whole time. Like, just let it happen. Get stolen. Shut up about it. You're going to see the world.
I guess she was the shrew, huh? Anyway, I'm going to be talking a lot about the answers of the episode, and I think when it comes to game shows, I think it's quite fun to watch them and kind of like play along at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, anybody out there listening, my personal recommendation here is that you go away and watch this first yourself and then come back. You can find it on YouTube, I think. Just look for Carmen Sandiego, The Taking of the Shrew, and I'm sure you'll find it. And then come back and listen to us talk about it. And we could compare whether you got as many right as I did.
Whether you got as many wrong as I did on this children's show.
Some of these questions were hard.
I know! Like, I will not pretend that I have even the slightest grasp of geography. I'm very bad at it, but some of these were hard.
Sure were. Some of them were about places I know quite a lot about, and I still got them wrong, so... So the show starts, and immediately we've got some a cappella going on.
And one of these people could find her. Jason Morgan.
Yeah, it starts from the beginning, and it just plays the whole entire time, basically.
Yes.
Or at least it was stuck in my head forever.
Yeah.
And I just put it in there.
It was pretty damn good a cappella.
Oh, for sure. They're a cool group.
As somebody who isn't... I don't know, I'm not going to say that I'm not a fan of a cappella because I love the Blanks, also known as Ted's band from Scrubs.
Loser.
They're great. They're really funny. But that's like the only a cappella I've ever really listened to. So I don't have much knowledge of a cappella, but I liked these guys. They were good.
Mm-hmm. A cappella has the potential to be extremely good.
Yes. Or extremely embarrassing.
Yeah, but that's just called a children's choir.
That's true. The band is called Rockapella. They are an a cappella band who apparently found huge success in Japan in the early 90s.
Good for them.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
Or how. Maybe Japan was just big fans of Carmen Sandiego.
Maybe. It was basically like the year after this show they started hitting it off big in Japan, and they released like 5 albums over there. In the US, they did find success, but a little bit slower. They've done a lot of commercial jingles, and it seemed like they were best known for their Folgers one.
Every day I wake up, pour myself a cup of that rich Folgers aroma. The best part of waking up, it's the do-up in all I do. The mountain grown aroma always coming through. Oh, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
The best part of waking up?
Yes, they didn't write that. That had been part of the Folgers campaign since like the 30s, I think it said.
Oh, but they performed it.
Yes, they performed a memorable version of it. It's no moon shoes, though.
Kid-powered anti-gravity shoes?
Yeah. I was watching some of those the other day.
Those are burned in my memory forever. Elephant the elephant, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get back to talking about the show.
No, I want to talk about elephant some more.
You can. What else do you have to say about it?
Not much.
Yeah, it's kind of what I figured.
I did want it when I was a kid, and as I grew up, I was like, why does this game exist? It's not really a game.
No. No. So the big ones from my childhood, I don't know if these were just UK things or if you would have had them over there, but the big ones along these lines for me were Pop-Up Pirate and Buckaroo. So Pop-Up Pirate is a game where there's a barrel that has a pirate in it, and you all have to slide swords into these slots.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And then a random one will make the pirate pop up out of the barrel, and then you lose, I guess.
It sounds like they rebranded that and made Don't Wake Daddy. Which, thinking about it now, is kind of really dark and weird.
Yeah, why are you so afraid of your father?
Right? Why are you so scared to wake him?
And the other one, Buckaroo, was you have a donkey. It's kind of the same deal, I guess, as both of those other ones. You have a donkey, and it's got all these kind of hooks on its saddle, and you have to try and put all of the different items on the hooks carefully. And if you, like, trigger the donkey, it will buck and throw everything off.
Which reminds me of that one alligator game where you have to, like,
pull his teeth! Yes! Yeah! I knew the exact... Well, that's another one, actually. I really wanted that as well.
All these games that are the same thing, just random chance, and then it hurts you.
Yeah. Don't be the one that gets bit by the crocodile. I guess Operation as well, right?
Yeah. Well, that one required a bit more skill.
That's true. But, you know, I guess I always remember Operation as that you get a little shock. But I don't think you actually do. Yeah, it just makes a noise.
Maybe your game was just broken and it was short-circuiting.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about this show again.
Okay.
So, I really liked the sets.
I really liked this whole show. It was bananas.
Yeah, it was great. But the sets of the show, the whole show has kind of like a, what is it, like a 1930s New York detective aesthetic to it.
Yeah. And like a bright and happy version.
Yes, it's like a noir. It's like a noir detective film fell into a bucket of paint.
So it's no longer noir at all.
And even the kids, even the contestants all have costumes.
Yeah, I liked their introduction thing where the one kid, I think it was Jay's, like, staring into the void.
Yeah, like one of them's wearing a newspaper. Wearing? Reading.
One of them's on the phone, like he's just been informed of something interesting and saucy.
Yeah, like Carmen Sandiego being on the loose.
What?
Yeah, that's what the show's about.
Oh. Oh, did I watch the wrong show?
I think you watched the right show because you've been describing it correctly. I think you just grossly misunderstood it.
Yeah, that would be something I'd do. I would walk away from that and be like, wait, she's a thief?
The kids are, I guess, new recruits in the Acme Detective Agency.
Mm-hmm.
Acme, for anybody who doesn't know about this, Acme is a running joke in a bunch of different US media. Probably best known from Looney Tunes, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, I thought it was just a Looney Tunes thing, so whenever it would show up in something else, I'd be like, they stole that from Looney Tunes.
Give that back to Daffy Duck.
But apparently it's a running joke based on real life.
Oh.
So the word Acme is Greek, meaning peak or summit. And in the 1920s, it was extremely prevalent as a company name because that was around the time, I guess, that the Yellow Pages first started existing, which was a listing of companies that you could call for services.
Back before you could just Google them.
Yeah, and every new company wanted to be listed first in their section of the Yellow Pages, so they were all naming themselves Acme to make it to the top of the listings.
Well, here's your Acme Yellow Pages. You're gonna have to get the B separately.
So no matter what kind of company you were looking for, chances are the first one in the list would be called Acme, and that's why that became a running joke in the media.
I would have gone with Aardvark, personally. 2 A's, can't beat it.
Yeah, you're right. That would have been first.
I should have had a business in the 1920s.
There's still time. We are introduced to our contestants, Jason Morgan, Jay Bart, and Risa Molitz.
We sure are.
That's them. I don't have much to say about them.
Her fly beret?
Yeah. I liked her hairstyle.
Me too. I liked how awkward Jason was. He's a sweet boy.
He's my favorite.
Mine too.
I decided... I don't remember when at some point I decided that he was the one I wanted to win, and I will tell you because I know I wrote down at the point where I decided, so I'll tell you when it happened.
Okay.
We're also introduced to Greg Lee, the host.
Is that his name? I was thinking his name was Reggie the whole time.
Oh no, it's Greg Lee apparently. I called him the host, but I guess he is more accurately the special agent in charge of training new recruits.
Yes, that is what I have written as well.
He played the mayor in Doug.
Okay.
Mayor White, who I guess later became the principal of Doug's school at some point. I don't think I watched that far into Doug.
I don't remember. No, I don't think I did either. Because at one point it switched over to Disney and I stopped watching.
Yeah, I had stopped watching long before it switched to Disney. I never saw the movie either.
It wasn't one of the great Nickelodeon highlights.
It wasn't. I didn't like it. It was like a boring Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold was the good one.
Mm-hmm. But you know, I don't think I grew to really appreciate Hey Arnold until I was older. I watched it every time it was on when I was a kid, but I was like, okay.
Oh yeah,
This
I
is
know all
something to
about
put
that.
in my young, impressionable eyes.
That's how I felt about Batman the Animated Series. I watched it growing up, but it wasn't until I was an adult that I was like, oh, this show's good.
It wasn't until I kept waking up in the middle of the night thinking about the haunted train that I was like, hey, Arnold has done it.
I always forget about the haunted train episode.
I can't. I don't know why.
I think a lot about the Pigeon Man.
Yes.
I think a lot about Stoop Kid.
Oh, yes. He's a classic.
And I think a lot about I saw your face.
And
wow. Anyway. That's enough about Hey Arnold. We're also introduced to the Chief.
I loved her. She was great.
She is played by Lynn Thigpen. I want to say it's pronounced Thigpen. I'm sorry if that's not correct, but that's the only way I can think of to pronounce it.
We're gonna have to live with that.
Yeah. I looked her up to see what else she did. She was the Moon in Bear in the Big Blue House.
Okay.
Remember Bear in the Big Blue House?
Vaguely. I never really watched it.
Yeah, see, I was a little bit too old for it. Just a little bit too old for it, but I still liked it a lot because it was Jim Henson. So, well, it wasn't Jim Henson because he was long dead by then, but it was the Jim Henson Company, and they're good. They know puppets. They're good at puppets, you know.
Yeah, I know how you feel about them and puppets in general. Know about your puppet thing.
So, for anybody who never saw Bear in the Big Blue House, at the end of every episode, Bear would walk out on his balcony and the moon would be coming up and he would have a little chat with the moon about whatever happened that day in the Big Blue House. And then they would sing the goodbye song together.
Hey, this was really fun.
We hope you liked it too.
Seems like we've just begun when suddenly we're through. Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. 'Cause now it's time to go. But hey, I say, well, that's okay.
'Cause we'll see you very soon, I know.
Very soon, I know.
And then the moon would say that Carmen and her cadre of creeps have hit the Louvre.
The Chief is a big fan of alliteration, huh?
I love it.
It was great. There were a couple points where I was like, my God, that's an incredible number of alliterative words.
Vic was spotted pinching a pinky ring on the Ponte Vecchio.
Not only that, but just the writing in general was surprisingly good.
It was very snappy, especially for the Chief. Yeah.
Yes, I loved it.
Yes, me too. Carmen and her, what was it, cadre of creeps, have hit the Louvre and stolen the Mona Lisa. I didn't write down any of the Chief's alliterations, but pretty much any time she mentions anything, she has some kind of alliterative adjective to go with it.
I think I only wrote down a couple, but we'll get to those.
Okay, good. Vic the Slick.
Oh yeah.
That's
I've
the
got her alliteration for him.
Oh yeah?
Vic the Slick, who it shows us an animation of him cutting the Mona Lisa out from the wall behind, and that's how he got away with this great crime.
Yeah.
Hey, monster! Get your hands off of me! Help! Somebody, help!
Those animations were incredible, by the way.
They feel like Monty Python animations.
Yeah.
They had that feel about them, but it was like Monty Python made in MS Paint.
Yeah, now that you mention it, absolutely.
I did look into it because I wondered if they were maybe animations from the game because they felt like old computer
They sure did.
stuff. They are not from the game.
Those are custom graphics?
Those are custom graphics for the show, yes. But they were made using an Apple Mac, which is what the game also ran on, so...
Which, that's hilarious. An artist was paid for that, and I love that for them.
Lots of artists.
Lots?
They had to produce about 2 hours of animation for the show. And apparently they had a ridiculously tight deadline and budget, which, you know...
That makes a lot of sense.
When people who don't know how animation works hire animators, they're almost always on a very tight deadline with a very low budget.
Tight deadline, yep. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he used the money he was given to purchase 6 Macintosh computers and assembled a team of animators to get it done using Macromind Director. I don't know what that is. I assume it's some old animation software.
I would guess. Well, good for them for pulling it out.
Yeah, they did a good job with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
We get a nice little biography card, I guess, for Vic the Slick.
This is the skinny on the slick one, as the chief tells us.
Yeah, he's also known as Louis the Loud for some reason.
That was so weird to me.
Yeah, like...
He already has a nickname.
His name is Vic the Slick. Why is he also Louis the Loud?
I don't know, but his motto is bad taste is better than no taste at all.
I don't agree.
I also don't agree.
Especially if you apply that motto to food, I especially don't agree.
The chief goes on to tell us he's got a penchant for plaid and pinky rings. He's the kind of guy you wouldn't trust with a wet match.
She did say that. I remember.
Yes,
I had to process the wet match part.
I had to pause and go back and make sure that I got the part about pinky rings. I was like, what a weird detail.
So, now the game begins for real. Each kid is given 50 Acme crime bucks. And they're told that the 2 kids with the most crime bucks at the end of the round will move on to the next round.
Oh, I missed that part. So when they... Spoiler alert. When they tie later, I was like, what's gonna happen? It's very suspenseful.
Yes, I did. So did you get into this as much as I did? Because I really got into this.
Probably not. I had to take a break in between because I was like, this show is extremely chaotic. I thought I was signing up for something easy today. I'm gonna take a break.
No, this show's nuts, and it was the perfect kind of nuts for me, I think, for the most part.
Oh, absolutely. It was great.
So, the chief describes a place based on some things associated with it. We're not told what the place is, we're just told some things about it.
They tell us a lot of things. This is like 5 full paragraphs.
We got plenty for me to figure this one out. We're told it's where the Mona Lisa was painted. It's the birthplace of the Renaissance. She mentions the great Renaissance masters, and then talks about how they have recently made a career change to become Ninja Turtles.
The artists Raphael, Donatello, and Michelangelo did some of their greatest works here. Their recent decision to become Ninja Turtles has initially been controversial, but is now regarded as just another example of their genius.
I loved that part.
Me too. And the audience did too. That got a laugh from the studio audience. By the way,
a genuine one.
It did. I really like that they show us the studio audience. Because in a lot of these shows, they kind of hide them away.
That they did back then.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so for game shows.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, they'll be like, it's filmed in front of a live studio audience, but they go out of their way to like not let us see them.
Yeah, true, but
I guess not so much for game shows, though.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten more used to the more recent style of game shows. I think beginning with Millionaire, where they like put the studio audience in the shadows.
you don't see that they're all just cardboard cutouts of Danny DeVito.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just like vague shapes out in the darkness.
Mhm.
Now that I think about it, it's kind of spooky.
Like a bunch of ghosts are judging you,
Yeah.
waiting for you to be deemed fit for heaven or hell.
And then, like, if you don't become a millionaire, then horrible baying and screeching starts coming from every side, and long tendrils wrap around you and drag you screaming into the studio audience, which you have now rejoined.
Oh, so like everybody gets a chance to break free from the captive studio audience?
That's what Millionaire does, right? Don't they? Aren't the potential players in the audience, and they have to answer a question to be allowed to come out and try for the million?
It's been a long time since I watched that show. I thought that they were all like vetted and tested beforehand.
I can't remember. It might be both. Maybe it's a little of column A, a little of column B situation. We get Grandpa
A little
in
bit
here?
of you got a studio plant.
Yeah. The possible answers here are
Toulouse, Barcelona, or Florence. Remember the clues that we heard where Leonardo painted Mona Lisa and the birthplace of the Renaissance?
the answer is Florence.
It's Florence.
I got this one right, and so did all the children.
I really love that point of comparison because, yeah, these kids are smarter than me a couple times.
So you said you didn't get this one?
No, I did get this one.
Oh, you did. Okay.
This is one of the easy ones.
Yes, this was the probably the easiest one, I guess, because only one of those towns is in Italy.
I would have gotten that one without multiple choice, I think. I think I did get that one without multiple choice.
I don't know that I would have got Florence. I think I would have, if it wasn't for the multiple choice, I think I probably would have guessed Venice.
My brain just kind of stopped at birthplace of the Renaissance.
Was that Florence?
Well, that is the answer to the question.
I guess it is. Thank God for multiple choice.
That's how I got through high school.
After this question, we're formally introduced to these children. I don't know why they didn't do this first.
To answer a question. Right. Better late than never, I guess. We had to see if they were smart enough to gain our respect. And then when we started learning about them, if they got the first one wrong, we could immediately be like, ha ha, fishing loser.
Yes. So Jason likes to fish and ride his bike. Fishing, I don't know, I guess it was the very beginning of the 90s. If a kid today told me he liked to fish, I'd be like, what, do you not have video games? What's wrong with you?
No, don't talk shit about kids that like to fish because I don't know why. I just really want to go fishing and no one will go fishing with me. And I'm sure it's going to be boring and I don't think I'll catch a fish, but I want to go.
Okay, I'll go fishing with you.
I don't believe you.
I'll do it. I've done it once. It is boring.
The thing is, though, like at our age, we can go and talk, and instead of just sitting there in the quiet with Grandpa.
That's what I did when I did it.
Because, like, I don't, like I said, I don't think I would catch anything. But if you go with a friend, you bring some beer, it's a good old time on the lake.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that without the fishing.
I mean, yeah, but I want the fish.
You want the experience.
I want to be a rugged mountain man with the potential to catch my own dinner.
I don't know if I want to eat any fish I catch in the lake.
Well, it depends what kind of fish you catch.
Well, I guess I don't like freshwater fish that much. I need that salt.
They tend to be not as good as saltwater.
Yeah, I need that salty fish.
Unless
we can get salmon. Yeah.
I love me a salmon.
Yeah, salmon's good.
But salmon is a both fish, so it cheats.
It does. That's true.
I don't know, it's just ever since video games started putting fishing mini games in it, I'm like, I think this is my calling
I
because
see
I
what it
spend
is.
most of my time fishing.
Yeah, you got real good at Stardew Valley fishing, and now you think that skill's transferable.
Excuse me? I got real good at Rune Factory fishing.
Oh, okay. And now you think that skill's transferable.
That's where I got all my money in Terraria from fish.
Oh, really? I got all my money from accidentally picking up your coins when we died.
If that ain't a metaphor for life.
Jason wants to be an astronomer.
Just gonna dodge that one.
And honestly, I love that for him.
He was so precious and so awkward, and when he said he wanted to be an astronomer, this fish boy, I was like, get it, girl.
Yeah. He just wants to look at the planets. He had, of the three of them, I think he had the most, like, kid dream for the future.
Yeah.
Because that's something where he's like, he's just started learning about the planets. He thinks they're awesome as heck. He wants to do that for a living.
He wants to ride his bike to the moon.
Then we've got Jay over here, who likes to play soccer. He's been playing soccer for over 7 years.
I like to play soccer. I've been playing soccer for over 7 years.
He wants to be a lawyer because...
I like to put people in jail.
And the host could not handle that information.
Yeah, I like that the host was, like, kind of uncomfortable with it.
I don't know if uncomfortable is the right word, but he definitely laughed.
Yeah, like, he didn't know what to say about it.
Yeah. What do you say when a kid tells you he likes to put people in jail?
I think this kid grew up to be an Ace Attorney villain.
Yeah, an Ace Attorney villain, specifically a cop.
Well, I was going to say a prosecutor. Like a crooked
No.
prosecutor. He's like the Von Karma.
I don't know. For some reason, I just like to believe he didn't quite make it all the way to lawyer, but he stayed with law enforcement and became a crooked cop.
Yeah, I can see that. And then we got Risa over here, who likes to play piano and take voice lessons.
I couldn't understand what she said she wanted to be.
I had to rewatch it 4 times to figure it out.
Please enlighten me.
I'm pretty sure she says she wants to be a broadcast journalist on the news.
A broadcast journalist on the news.
Okay.
Which is very specific wording.
Yeah. I just thought she said newscaster and I couldn't understand her.
She basically did. But she used the technical term. She used the correct term, and that's how you can tell that she was a real news anchor nerd.
Right.
She probably lost her shit later on when Walter Cronkite appeared.
Okay, I have notes about that. I was like, what child of the 90s is gonna care about this dusty old newsman?
Risa Mullets over here.
You're right. I stand corrected.
I wish I could find out what these kids do now. I want to know if any of these 3 achieved their dreams, but
I know.
There's
Maybe
no way
we
to
could
know.
dig up like a Reddit AMA.
If any of you 3 kids who are probably in your 40s or 50s by now, if any of you are listening to this, please get in touch.
You know that those 3 are our only audience.
Name searching themselves.
I just meant that they've been with us since the beginning.
Oh, you mean they showed up for Pac-Man and they're still here?
Yeah.
They've been waiting this whole time like, I wonder if they'll cover my episode. 2 of these children are really boring to me.
And then there's Jason, the best one.
And then there's Jason, who wants to do something cool. I don't know any kids who wanted to be a lawyer or a broadcast journalist at this age.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at that age I was still talking about being an artist or a writer or some other dumb dream.
Pretty sure you're still doing that now.
No, I don't have dreams anymore. I'm an adult.
No, you're right. It's me who's talking about you being an artist or a writer.
You took my dreams from me.
No, I'm dreaming them for you. I want these things for you.
That's true. You found them in the dumpster, and you're like, I'll hold on to this.
Yeah. I'll burn this candle for you.
The votive candle of me throwing my dreams in the dumpster.
Now I'm trying to force your dreams back on you. Oh, this is where the phone rings.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Actually, hang on. Before we move on to this, Risa, something that really stuck with me. This is a minor thing, but it just stuck with me for some reason. She says that she sings. She says that she's been singing for years, but she doesn't say that she likes to play piano and sing. She specifically says that she likes to play piano and take voice lessons. She doesn't like singing. She likes taking the singing lessons. I don't know. It was weird.
You're really picking apart this young girl's testimony.
Okay.
I don't really know if you can infer that from what she said, but maybe if you squint.
That's what she said. She likes to play piano and take voice lessons. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking for...
Why would you keep doing it if you didn't like it?
That's true.
That seems like it's not like one of those weird competitive things that parents force their children into.
Yeah.
You're going to sing, Risa, whether you like it or not.
I don't know. I feel like some parents probably force their kids to sing.
That's true. We do have like child pageants and stuff.
Yeah. And then her mom's like, You're gonna be a famous singing girl. And Risa's like, I just want to be a broadcast journalist.
You're going to be a singing one.
You're going to sing the news, sweetheart.
You're swimming with the fishes. And then Jason can fish her up.
Oh, wow. It's the crossover episode.
Jason's a cameo in every episode.
And then Jay's going to put her mom in jail. Anyway, so let's get back on track. I'm sorry. The phone rings. It's the Mona Lisa herself. And she's pissed.
It's Lisa. When are you gonna rescue me?
She is. She's really angry that they haven't found her yet. Like, hold your horses. Maybe actually tell us where you are.
How did she get access to a phone? I mean,
maybe
like,
Vic the Slick was taking a piss.
Maybe. But, like, he's kidnapped her. He's running around with her.
He took her to a museum.
Took her to a museum. Somehow she's got access to a phone. And also she's a painting.
You know, it kind of sounded to me like Vic the Slick just wanted a friend if he's, like, taking her to all these sightseeing places.
He's taking her on a lovely date.
Yeah, all over the world.
They're at the Da Vinci Museum. They're strolling along the Amstel River. Everything's in Dutch.
These are the clues.
The possible answers for where they are
Copenhagen, Amsterdam, or Antwerp. Remember the clues that we heard? Van Gogh Museum, Amstel River, and Dutch.
I got this one right, based purely on everything being in Dutch.
Me too! I am not ashamed to admit it.
Yeah, I never heard of the Amstel River. I didn't know there was a Da Vinci Museum there. But yes, the answer is Amsterdam. And we all got this right. All the kids and us.
Yeah, and us also children.
Right now we have the same amount of points as all of these children do.
It will not last.
Suddenly a man enters the set.
This was bananas.
This man is apparently Scott, the dying informant.
But we don't learn that until he leaves.
Yes.
He comes in, he throws himself on the floor, and perfectly lines himself up with a chalk outline that's apparently been there the whole time.
Yes, at first he misses it, and then he like scoots into it, which I thought was really funny.
Me too.
I'm pretty sure he's a member of the band, the Rockapellas.
That would make sense.
But yeah,
just reuse your actors.
With his dying words, he gives us some more clues.
I saw Vic in a Japanese.
Come on, you can't die now. A Japanese what? A Japanese what? Come on.
An industrial center in Western Japan.
Come on, we need a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Come on.
The city's famous for bunraku, Japanese puppet theater.
Is that it? That's all you had to say to me? Is that it? Haven't you got any more? Answer me!
It's just south of Kyoto.
And then he collapses dead. And then he gets up and takes a bow and leaves.
Oh, he does more than take a bow. He does a spin.
That's true.
And then he dies elsewhere on the floor.
Yeah, well, he does a little dance move. He does the splits on the floor and then dies.
Yeah. That's how I want to go out. I want to do splits and then die.
And then after I've died, I want to get back up, take a bow, and leave. But yeah, I love that he dies on the floor, and then Greg like presents him and is like,
Scott, the dying informant. One more time. Bravo. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And then he takes a bow. Our options are
Yokohama, Osaka, or Nagasaki. Remember the clues that we heard from the dying informant? Industrial center in Western Japan, Japanese puppet theater, and just south of Kyoto.
I got this one wrong.
Me too. All of the kids guessed Nagasaki. The correct answer is Osaka. I didn't get this.
I picked Yokohama.
I can't remember actually which one I picked, but I know I didn't pick correctly. That was a hard one.
That was a hard one.
And
Osaka isn't one of those cities that they really talk about outside of Japan.
No. I know a fair amount about Japan, and I didn't know
Those
this one.
clues were not ideal.
No, they were. I mean, somebody must know it, but it wasn't me.
And it wasn't these children either.
And now we get a lightning round. All of the kids are currently tied.
Yeah.
They got 70 crime bucks each at this point. So now they get a little lightning round, I guess, for the specific purpose of trying to unbalance the scores a little bit. Because it seemed like the lightning round was triggered by someone, you know, in a room somewhere who was watching and was like, "We got to do something about this.
We got to spice this up. Too civil. We got to get these kids fighting."
So the first question in the lightning round is about the name of Japan's parliament. I did not know this, but I got it right.
It was kind of obvious from the list.
Yes. So the correct answer is Diet, apparently. The Japanese parliament is called the Diet. I only got this because the other two options given were the House of Commons, which is the UK parliament, and Congress.
Which is the US.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't multiple choice, I would have had no idea.
Yeah. Jay got that one right.
Fucking nerd.
Yep. The next question is, what does Gohan mean? I knew this one because I've been learning Duolingo Japanese.
Not Japanese, but learning Duolingo.
Yeah, Duolingo Japanese is different than real Japanese because an owl says it.
It is kind of, because it doesn't give you any context and you just kind of have to guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I knew this was rice from that. Jay got it right. I think Jay knew it because he was very confident.
I don't think that he did. I think that of the three choices, it's just the most obvious.
You think? What were the chicken was one of them, right? What was the other one?
Rice, bread, or chicken.
I feel
It
like
says-
Gohan. I feel like if I didn't know and I just had to guess, I would have guessed bread.
I wrote the question down verbatim.
Okay.
It is in Japanese, the word gohan means meal. However, it also refers to a staple food that is eaten at almost every meal.
Ah. Okay.
That makes it a little bit more obvious.
Okay. I guess if you know that Japanese people eat rice all day. And then Jason got the last question. I don't think this one was multiple choice.
The thing is, he just gave the answer before any options were given. He's like, I know what that is.
Oh yeah, maybe
Fucking
that's what it is.
origami.
Yeah, because he holds up an origami crane, and he
Oh,
starts.
it's the ugliest lime green crane, and he really makes us look at it.
It's huge as well. It's the biggest origami crane I've ever seen. And he starts to ask, and I guess Jason, before the question's even finished, is like, "That's origami. I know it."
Yeah.
So we don't get to know what the options would have been.
Thanks, Jason.
Everybody knows what origami is. That was an easy one.
I'm sure there are people saying that about the questions that we got wrong.
Probably. Wait, we've only got one wrong so far, right?
So far. I'm not gonna out myself, but I didn't get all of the coming ones right.
No, me neither. Greg goes into the chief's office at this point, and she sticks a bunch of post-its all over him while dressing him down a little bit for not finding Vic yet.
Yeah.
And then she says,
I will give a trip anywhere in the United States to the gumshoe who captures Carmen Sandiego.
Yeah, she sweetens the pot, so
That's
she
right.
really gets those kids working.
but then Greg says that that's not in the budget.
So they have to change it to just the lower 48 states.
Yeah, the lower 48 states. I assume that means anywhere except Alaska or Hawaii.
I would assume so as well, yes.
Yeah, but I would
What's
not.
the point of getting a US vacation if you can't go to Hawaii?
I know, right? That's the place I would have picked.
I know.
But I guess my second choice would probably be Washington or California, maybe? Maybe Oregon.
I honestly don't even know what I would pick.
Yeah, I want to go to like some real tacky tourist trap in Oregon.
I think if I were a kid and I was suddenly forced to answer this question, I would have said like Orlando, Florida or something.
Yeah.
But these days I was like, knowing my dumbass, the only thing that would come to mind is Point Pleasant, West Virginia, so I could see the Mothman.
Don't you live like a 3-hour drive from there anyway?
No, it's like 6 hours.
Oh, is
it's
it?
like
Okay.
on the very, very end of the furthest point of West Virginia.
Okay. Oh, this is where the phone-tapped conversation happens between Vic and Carmen herself.
That's right.
Hey, boss lady, I gotta stash Lisa someplace. She's getting on my nerves.
Take her to a souk in Morocco.
Souk? What's a souk?
It's an outdoor market where you can find everything from snake charmers to pastries filled with pigeon meat. Vic, you'll love the souk. You can argue over the price of everything.
Yeah? Where is this Morocco place, huh?
It's a country in northern Africa on the Mediterranean Sea. And Vic,
Yeah?
lose the plaid suit.
Oh, Carmen, you got no style.
I could not find out who voiced Vic. This is Carmen Sandiego's only appearance in this episode.
Yeah. Because they didn't, spoiler alert, they didn't catch her.
They sure didn't. I couldn't find out for sure who voiced her. It's possibly Christine Sokol, because that's the only feminine name listed for voices during the credits. But if so, the only other role I could find for her was Jenny Acorn in Grand Theft Auto 4.
Okay.
I don't know who that is because I haven't played that game. but
Me neither.
Seems to be the only other thing she did. She tells Vic to take the Mona Lisa to a souk in Morocco.
Which is a strange place to take her, but alright.
Yeah, and they drop several hints about where Morocco is. They say it's on the Mediterranean Sea, stuff like that. We're given 3 options, as always.
Algiers, Marrakesh, or Tripoli?
I got this one right.
Oh, I didn't.
I got this one right purely because Marrakesh, Morocco, is a stage in Hitman.
Oh my god. I would make fun of you, but there's a lot of things I only know because of video games.
Jay and Risa both got it, but Jay pronounced it
Marachica.
Yeah. I love that Greg corrected him. Like,
Me
way
too.
to call out this child.
Risa pronounced it right, but that might have just been because she had just heard Jay get made fun of by the host.
I can't let that be me, man.
And this is where Special Agent Walter Cronkite shows up.
Oh my, special agent. I forgot. They used Acme CelebNet to contact Special Agent Walter Cronkite.
Well, Gumshoes, here's the way it is. That crook is hiding out in a seaside city in Brazil, where the residents are called cariocas. Beautiful beaches, beautiful people, and the carefree lifestyle. It's going to be tough to keep your mind on work.
For anybody who doesn't know what Walter Cronkite is, who Walter Cronkite is, he was a big-name CBS broadcast journalist. So, like I said, Risa must be losing her mind at this one. He covered a lot of huge events in US history, like bombings in World War II. He covered the Watergate scandal. He covered the assassinations of Kennedy, Martin Luther King, and John Lennon.
What if he was involved in all these things? That's how he got to cover them.
Oh my god, well, you know, maybe he's part of Carmen's gang after all. You think he was out there being like, well, there's no news today. I better go assassinate the president.
Listen, if you've ever watched the movie Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal, I believe it. I believe there's people out there making news.
And that's the way it is.
That's just the way it's gotta be.
And he covered the moon landing as well.
Well, that's a nice one in between all that misery.
I thought I should end it on something pleasant. He gives us a bunch of clues about Brazil.
Oh yeah. I like, even as I was watching the show, I was taken aback that everything was clues.
Yes, there's so many times when this wasn't one of them, but there were a couple times when something would happen and then they would come back and suddenly be asking a question and I'm like, oh wait, that was a clue.
Here I've spaced out and I'm just looking at the background and then they're asking me questions about it.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying this nice song about zombies and suddenly I realized that song was a clue. What?
That was the worst one. That one felt dirty.
I felt like I'd been tricked.
I thought we were just having a nice little musical interlude. And it was a quiz.
We come back and I'm like, oh no, now I have to scan my memory. What were the clues? What are the clues?
But anyway.
Yes, I got this one.
I got this one as well.
I got this one. I don't know anything about Brazil really, but everything that he mentioned just happened to also be something that I was taught by the Three Caballeros.
Oh, Lord.
So thank you, Donald Duck, for teaching me about Rio de Janeiro. So yes, the three options were Brasilia, Rio de Janeiro, and Sao Paulo, and the correct answer was Rio. And all the kids got it. Maybe they'd
All right.
also all seen The Three Caballeros.
Maybe. One can dream.
And this is where the band interrupts to perform a song called Zombie Jamboree.
I didn't get any of the clues from the song.
No, but I loved it.
I did too.
It's a really good song.
It's not a very convenient way to convey information, but it was a banger.
It sure was. I wasn't paying a lot of attention to the lyrics because I was very distracted by the lead singer's eyes.
They were horrible. They were awful.
I never did quite pass what was happening with them.
No, me neither. I couldn't figure it out, and also I didn't want to look at it.
No, I guess he was wearing some kind of like plastic eye things.
Yeah, like when you pretend to have fake eyes and you like scrunch your cheeks and your brow together to hold something there.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. But they were like special eye things made specifically for that.
Yeah,
It's very disturbed.
I didn't care for it.
But the song was neat. I enjoyed the song.
Back to back, belly to belly. Well, I don't give a dang, 'cause I'm stone dead already. Back to back, belly to belly. A zombie jamboree, we do the limbo.
Yeah, I did not take in that this song was supposed to be a clue. Suddenly we're back in the studio and Greg's asking us a question. He just... the song happens... And then it comes back, and suddenly the answers Haiti, Aruba, or Trinidad are on the board. And I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
Yes, it was a wild ride.
I got this one wrong.
I did as well.
I guessed Haiti.
I think I did too.
I guessed Haiti because I know that there are zombies in Haitian culture.
Yeah, me too. They've got voodoo.
Yeah, but apparently I was wrong. Apparently the zombies were not the clue. There are other clues that I missed.
All of the others. But you know what? I didn't know them anyway, so the joke's on you.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about Aruba or Trinidad, really. So.
Yeah.
But not one of the kids guessed Haiti.
Yeah, I know. That's what made me feel so stupid.
But Jay's the only one who got it wrong. Jason and Risa both said Trinidad, which was correct. And now it's time for the final clue of the round.
Bum, bum, ba-dum.
Greg tells the kids they can risk their crime bucks on answering right to get bigger rewards.
I loved this part because he says, here's a part of the map where we think Vic the Slick is headed. And it's just the southern US. And after they've been to all of these exotic locations, I'm like, that's just fucking Texas.
I like this part. So at this point, right now, Jason is trailing. He's got 95 points. And Jay and Risa are tied with 100 each.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a reversal of fates about to play out.
This was magical. I loved it. It's incredible.
So first the chief gets a fax from a ranger. Again, like, this is the point where I realized I really need to rearrange my brain to watch this show.
To understand this children's game show.
Because she just reads off this fax from this ranger.
We've chased your man from Waxahachie to Waco, from Del Rio to Laredo. Don't worry, ma'am, we always get our man. Signed, Ranger Danger.
And I'm sitting here like, I paused it to write the note. I don't understand what this scene was about. It just seemed like a weird little thing that happened. And then we come back and I am informed that was a clue.
Yes, that's the exact reaction that I had.
I didn't know he mentions a bunch of towns that they've been tracking Vic the Slick through. I didn't recognize any of the town names though.
Oh, I did. I recognized it for a dark and sinister reason.
Uh-oh, why?
Waco, Texas, where, what was it? What was that cult? I just lost it. But there was a pretty nasty massacre in Waco, Texas, prompted by the government assaulting the people of that cult.
Oh. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I did not. I mean, I got it right, but I guessed Texas based purely on the fact that it was a ranger. And I was like, yeah, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Whatever, right is right.
So this is the part where I fell in love with Jason and decided he was my favorite. He says he's risking 20, but he accidentally puts up the sign for 10.
And they're like, well, you picked 10, so we're going to have to stick with 10.
I was like, poor kid.
You can visibly see the defeat on his face.
But he accepts it. He like nods. He's like, okay.
Yeah, he doesn't try to fight it, but boy, his face is screaming.
So this is where I decided that he's my favorite and I want him to win. And he got the question right. He said Texas. So although he only risked 10 when he meant to risk 20, it paid off and he's now in the lead. Not only is he now in the lead, but the other two bet 30 and both got it wrong. So, where at the beginning of this round, he was 5 points behind the other two, he is now 35 points ahead. And I was on the edge of my seat by this point.
This is the most gripping television I've watched in years.
So because Jay and Risa are tying for biggest loser, they have to do a tiebreaker round.
The tiebreaker round was pretty great.
Yes. This is where I sent you my note here. I took a screenshot of my note here and sent it to you. Because
Greg just starts listing off a bunch of cities and you're supposed to guess which state it's in.
I immediately dismissed this round. I was like, I'm not going to know any of these. I don't know enough about America. And then the names start coming out. And I'm like, wait, this is Virginia.
I had the same reaction because the first city that he says is Hater's Gap. I was like, where the fuck is that? What southern weird state is that? And then he just starts naming Virginia cities. I'm like, oh, the one state I know anything about.
Yeah, I blame you for the fact that I know that these towns are in Virginia.
It took these kids a while to catch on. It wasn't until Richmond came up that Risa buzzed in.
Yeah, because Jay almost immediately buzzes in and says Washington.
Yeah.
He was just throwing out the first name he thought of, hoping he'd get a hit.
I mean, if you're gonna guess wrong, Washington is about as close to wrong as you can get. Because we have a Washington, it's just got a DC after it.
It's the wrong Washington. Even I know that. So Risa got it right. Jay is fired from the Acme Detective Agency.
But they send him off with a wonderful prize.
Oh my god. The prizes he got were my favorite prizes.
Right?
He got the best
the other
stuff.
ones showed up later. I was like, this feels worse than what the first guy got.
Yeah. Well, because the stuff... I mean, I guess the stuff that they got was more expensive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuff that he got is branded by the show. So it feels more unique and cool.
That and a subscription to National Geographic.
Yeah. He
can point where the Pacific Ocean is.
Finally. So yeah, he won a subscription to National Geographic. He won a World Atlas. He won a Carmen Sandiego watch. In my opinion, by far the coolest of any of the prizes in this show. And he won a Carmen Sandiego sweatshirt, which is also pretty rad.
You know he never wore it.
I would have worn it.
I know. You would still be wearing it to this day.
Wearing it now, yeah. I don't care how stretched out it is, how much I've popped the seams.
I'll just put another puppy dog patch on it to cover the holes.
What do you mean I can't still be wearing this sweatshirt I won in middle school?
It looked like a big sweatshirt.
It did
Maybe
look
that
pretty
was
big.
just like a default one, and then they asked him his size later, but...
I would... No, I wouldn't have thought to do it back in the day, actually, but...
No, because you would have wanted to wear it immediately.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I would have asked for it in an adult size so I could wear it when I grew up, but I wouldn't have thought about that at all at the time.
Absolutely not.
I'd be like, I want everyone at school to see what a big Carmen Sandiego nerd I am.
I'm her biggest fan.
Check it out. I didn't catch Carmen Sandiego.
Check it out. I went on TV and lost.
Jason and Risa are going to Dallas, Texas for some reason.
To meet Walker, Texas Ranger, obviously.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, I guess we did just establish that's where Vic the Slick is.
Mm-hmm.
The chief gives us a bunch of general facts about Dallas, and she refers to it as the Big D.
Clue. It was just kind of...
Yeah, I was listening so intently. I was like, where are the clues? And then there weren't any.
No. The one time that I'm prepared for it, and I'm let down.
Yeah. And then she gives the crime net countdown.
Oh my god.
5 are the senses you need for putting crooks on the run. 3 rounds to fight against greed. To be sure, justice has won.
It was pretty cleverly written, but it felt very cultish to me.
It was a little weird.
Yeah.
Because all of these kids already knew it. I'm like, do you need to know the crime countdown before you can come on the show?
They must have taught it, because I'm like, it's not like they're fans. This is the first episode.
Right.
So they have to have taught it to them before the show started.
Unless this was like part of the game.
I don't think it was. And I doubt very much.
Crime countdown?
There's no way all the kids in this audience had played the game. There's no way.
True. They probably didn't even know who Carmen Sandiego was. They're just like, I want to be in a live studio audience.
These are just
My mom
random.
says I have to.
Yeah, these are just random New York kids they grabbed off the street.
Yeah. Pulled them out of school.
Round 2 begins. They're in Dallas, Texas, and they need to connect the loot, a warrant, and the crook in that order in one turn for a chance at catching Carmen Sandiego and winning the trip.
I didn't like this round because it didn't have anything to do with geography.
No, it took me a bit to understand it, because from Greg's description, which I just relayed to you,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't understand what he was talking about. It was a bit kind of convoluted. Once it started, I realized that it's just a memory match game.
Yes. It's basically just a luck and memory game.
Yes, there are tiles with landmark names written on them, and the kids call out one of the names, and then the tile flips so you can see what's underneath it. And then you have to locate the things you need and then remember them in the correct order.
Yeah, so if you find one, but it's not the first one, then you've already fucked up and you're just helping the other guy.
Yeah, well, that's how a memory matching game works when it's 2-player.
I don't like memory matching games because I don't have a memory.
I'm not a huge fan. Well, neither did Risa, apparently.
Oh.
So if you only get to flip one tile unless you find the correct thing in the correct order, and then you get another go until you screw up or win. So Risa finds... All right, let's start from the beginning. They go for a long time without finding anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of duds in that.
They're flipping tiles for a decent amount of time to where I'm like, what? Are there even anything in here?
Oh shit, we forgot to put the things in.
Then Risa finds Vic the Slick, but that's no good because you have to find him last. Then Jason takes a turn and doesn't find anything. Then it's Risa's turn again, and this time she finds the loot, the Mona Lisa, and then she finds the warrant, which is the correct sequence. And she's already found Vic, but she forgot where he was. So she beefs it.
Yeah, at the last second, Jason swoops in for the steal.
Yeah.
Dallas Museum of Art. Dallas Museum of Art. Go ahead, Jason.
Sports Hall of Fame.
Sports Hall of Fame. There's the warrant. Do you know where Vic the Slick is?
Cotton Bowl Stadium.
Cotton Bowl Stadium, is he there? Yeah! Yeah! Come on here, Jace. Nice job, Jace. Good job. You took advantage of it. Nice. Stand right over here for me. You got Vic the Slick. Now the only thing you have to do is put him in jail, pull on this chain, and do it.
Vic the Slick's in jail.
So now Vic the Slick's in jail, and Risa has won a world band radio.
Whoa!
I didn't know that was a thing.
Neither did I.
It's a radio that can pick up radio signals from the entire world.
That sounds a lot cooler than I think it would be in practice.
Yeah, probably. But I'm just like baffled by the logistics of it. Can it pick up any radio signal, or does it have to be a radio that's broadcasting worldwide?
That's a great question that I don't have the answer to, but I feel like it would have to be like a worldwide thing. There's no way that this tiny little piece of children's technology can pick up like every radio broadcast.
No, and it's really tiny as well. I was shocked at how small it was. But even though I think that's kind of cool, I still think Jay's prizes were better.
Yeah. You would get like 1 or 2 nights of fun out of the worldwide broadcast thing and then be like, all right.
Yeah.
This is just news.
But I'll get a whole lifetime of having Carmen Sandiego tell me what time it is. So they hand Jason a ledger where I guess he writes down where he wants to go for his trip.
Mm-hmm.
But we never get to find out.
No, I was so mad about that because he didn't win, so they didn't get to like announce where he was going.
Yeah. So Vic squeals on Carmen and says that she's in Africa. And the chief gives us a list of countries where she could be. And it's a big list.
She says, here's a list of places Carmen has been, and pretty much just lists every African country.
Yes, I started feeling like I was watching Yakko's World, but more boring.
Morocco, Guinea-Bissau, Benin, Tunisia, Nigeria, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire, Botswana, Sudan, Uganda, Zimbabwe, Ethiopia.
Burundi, Lesotho, and Malawi, Togo, the Spanish Sahara is gone. Niger, Nigeria, Chad and Liberia, Egypt, Benin and Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya and Mali, Sierra Leone and Algier, Dahomey, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire.
Gonna get a copyright strike.
I know. Bring it, Warner Brothers. And the Warner sister.
No, she doesn't meddle in those affairs.
She's not. I feel like she'd be the most litigious of the three of them, to be honest.
True.
Greg takes Jason to a huge floor map of Africa and this is another part where I'd struggled to understand what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
He tells Jason that he has to track Carmen through 7 different countries in 45 seconds. I misunderstood it. I thought that he had to guess where she went. And I thought he had to follow a trail through these countries. And
I thought that he just had to name the countries, yes, but I thought that he had control over it. Like the points that he was putting down were the name of the country, so he could just pick 7 that he knew.
Yeah, I also misunderstood it. That I think he was, for each one, he's allowed to get it wrong twice.
Once. If he gets it wrong twice, then he has to move on.
Okay.
He gets 2 chances.
I still don't understand it, I guess. But I thought it was entirely luck based, and he had to like figure out the path that she took through trial and error, and he had to get
Well, I'm
7
going to
in
be
a row
honest
right.
with you. If that were me, it would be entirely luck based.
Yes,
I don't know my African country.
same. But no, it turns out that the way it works is that Greg shouts out the name of a country, and then Jason is supposed to put a marker on that country. I wouldn't. I definitely. I didn't even try and play along with this one. I would have gotten Morocco, and that's it. And that's only because we saw Morocco earlier.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, especially Middle African countries. I don't know them. I know South Africa. I know Egypt, and now I know Morocco.
I'll know Morocco for about a week, and then it's back to the ether.
I've never been to Africa yet. I want to go. Anyway, he only gets 3 right of the 7 he needs to win the trip. So Carmen gets away. Yeah, it's not 45 seconds is not long.
Yeah, for this little child to run all the way across a life-size map of Africa.
Life-size. He wins a portable CD player.
Yeah, with CDs from around the world.
That's pretty cool. But again, I feel like I'd listen to each of those CDs maybe once, unless they're really good.
Be like, this isn't really my kind of music.
Yeah. I do think it would be cool to have some, like, African music. That's the only one I could identify. When they showed the CDs, I was like, okay, that one's African.
Africa on it.
It literally says Africa on it, yeah.
Yeah.
All the others, I was like, I can't really make out what that is. So I guess we've reached the end of the show.
Yeah.
Rockapella performed the theme song over the credits. It's very good. I like it.
Me too.
Well, she sings around the world, from Virginia to Carolina. She's a sticky finger culture from Berlin down to Belize. Take me for a ride on a slow bus to China. Tell me where in the world is
Carmen Sandiego.
And that's the end.
Cool.
There's some animation over the credits, showing some more members of Carmen's gang, who I guess appear in further episodes.
Oh yeah! Oh my god, that part was incredible. I'm not gonna lie. Those animations were so bad.
Yeah, I love them.
Some of them, I don't even know what they were supposed to be.
I loved the guy on the bike. He was my favorite.
I don't know what my favorite was, and by that I mean I cannot identify it.
It was the shape.
Yeah, it was a pointy thing. I think it was very buff.
Cool.
It's always good to be swole.
So I had a good time with Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego.
It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I would watch more of this. I think I will.
If only because I like making myself feel dumb.
I think we did pretty well. We wouldn't have caught her, but we got a decent number right, I feel like.
I don't think we did pretty well at all, considering we're adults in our 30s and we don't know where anything is.
Yeah, but we got a score comparable to these middle school children.
Who's laughing now, Jay?
Yeah, and I don't even want to be a broadcast journalist, so I've got more of an excuse.
An excuse for what?
For not catching Carmen Sandiego. For not knowing where Vic the Slick was, even though I'm the one who found her. Him. Should we talk about the legacy of this show?
Let's do it.
This show was followed by Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego?
Ooh.
It was
something I would be even worse at.
It was basically the exact same show, but with a history theme instead of a geography one.
Mm-hmm.
But it still had the chief in it.
Good.
The chief, who had previously been depicted as a British man, went on to be featured in several of the games following this as actual FMV footage of Lynn Thigpen.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she stuck around.
Good. I liked her a lot.
And a lot of the incarnations of the chief in later games and TV shows have been inspired by her portrayal of the chief as well.
Because she's the best chief?
She's pretty good. Yeah, I thought she did great. I see why people liked her so much. And that's the end. I don't have anything else to say about Carmen Sandiego, do you?
Not really.
No? I think we're
I'm
good.
honestly surprised to learn that a game show had a legacy that like affected the series.
Yeah. Well, this show was popular, obviously. It had nearly 300 episodes.
Which I still can't quite wrap my teeny tiny mind around.
But hey, there's plenty of other Carmen Sandiego shows for us to look at as well, because this was Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. We've also got Where in Time is She. We've got Where on Earth is She, which is the first animated series. And then we've got the Netflix show as well.
Wow, that's a lot of content.
Yeah. Thanks, Carmen.
For your crime legacy.
She really is a cool character.
I do like Carmen Sandiego.
Even though we saw so little of her in this show.
Even though I'm not convinced she's real.
Even though
I'm not convinced she's not Professor Devious.
She's super rare. You think it's Professor Devious catfishing us?
Yes. He faked his own death and created Carmen Sandiego, this mysterious woman no one can catch.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
Mysterious, beautiful woman.
It's like when somebody makes a D&D character and it's just this beautiful woman, but we all know it's a man.
We can see you sitting right there, Jeff. Fingers covered in Cheeto dust.
We're not doing ERPG, stop asking.
Well, thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thanks for traveling around the world with us
And
while we let this slippery fiend escape yet again.
Yeah, well, next time, Carmen.
Next time!
What do we say at the end of a show?
Get off our lawn.
And into our Patreon account.
Get out of my dreams and into my bank account.
I say that to money all the time. You can find our Patreon at www.patreon.com/Super Breakfast Friends Club. And you can just, put some money in our pockets so we can make this show better. How?
You can become a patron, and we can send you exclusive content.
Yeah. Right now, all the exclusive content is outtakes from the show. But at some point, we're planning on doing some Patreon exclusive short episodes about shorter things than a half-hour television show. And also, one of the Patreon bonuses you can get is that you can suggest episodes of shows we've already covered, and we'll go back and look at those episodes for you.
Maybe you want to hurt us. Maybe you can make us watch something extremely terrible because you're into that sort of thing. We'll do it for money.
Maybe there's a particularly bad episode, or maybe there's a particularly good episode, or maybe there's an episode of Carmen Sandiego that you personally appeared on.
Maybe you just want us to feel even dumber, so you want to put us through the ridicule of another episode of Carmen where children are smarter than us.
You can find us on Twitter at SBreakfastFC. That Twitter handle that I got.
About the football club.
I'm gonna do my best to try and track down a copy of the original Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego to stream on my Twitch channel this Wednesday, the first Wednesday after this episode goes up. We'll see if it happens.
And if not, it'll be Carmen flavored something for sure.
I'll find some common thing to stream. I think there's one on Steam. I don't know which one though.
I've never actually thought to check.
We probably I feel like we forgot something, but I don't know what it was.
You gave your Twitch, you gave the Twitter, you gave the Patreon, coffee.
Oh yeah, we have a coffee now. Find us on coffee. Bye. Okay, we're both recording now.
Oh no.
Your voice is being captured.
Give it back.
No, it's mine now.
No, you can't. I own that voice. You can't just put it in a Pokeball and walk away.
I did it though, so
No, there's rules against that.
there's no laws. There's no legislation.
You're using a Game Shark.
Yeah, I am.